Hi everybody, welcome. This is part 2 to the beginning of learning how to draw a generic floor plan in AutoCAD. I have left us off in the last video here, just asking you to kind of move on and draw up the elevator lobby, which I'm not going to explain. I'll do that in class, but basically you will be here once you do that. And again, just a reminder, this particular wall in the elevator lobby should be 6 inches in depth, really. And do have it on. Okay, I am missing my dynamic input though, so that's why you didn't see a temporary dimension. Let me turn that on. Hello, I don't know how that happened. Anyway, no worries. We do it again. So dynamic input is on. The distance, I'm going to select from endpoint perpendicularly, and then there you could see south, literally the 6 inches, which again, that dynamic input I need. I can't draw without it. But anyway, so here we are. Okay, where I want to concentrate is getting the openings. Oh gosh, so like this opening here doesn't exist because we didn't draw it. So let me kind of share with you a little bit of the fillet command. Here's the fillet command. By default, I'm just going to select one object vertically and one object horizontally, and it's going to close that corner off with 90 degrees. Same thing here. I'm just going to draw this. I was not planning to show you. I just forgot to delete my door opening. That's right. So what's great about 2023 is you don't have to grab things like what are called cutting edges or boundary edges anymore for trim, extend, fillet, on and on. So it kind of makes life easy. Okay, so now, since we've left off here without any openings, we now have no openings in our part 2. Okay, sorry about that little skip up. All right, I'm going to start with the pivot doors in the meeting room, right here and here. We're not going to draw the doors. We're going to actually draw the doors in class because that's going to be our first exercise in creating a W block. But I would like to draw the openings just so you know how to do it. There is several ways that I can do it, and let me just reference the floor plan, and let's zoom in a little. So our pivot doors are, we have one north, or both of them are on the north wall, I should say. One is east and one is west, right? When you see pivot doors, generically just assume 3 foot wide. So what I want to capture is basically a 3 foot wide opening on both ends. I do not have a dimension listed here, but I did actually share with you a snapshot of another floor plan with other dimensions on it and what's called out here. So what I mean is from this vertical wall to the start of the door opening, it's 6 inches, but you wouldn't know that on this sheet. So you're gonna kind of have to trust me a little bit. Apologize about that. Okay, a couple ways I could do this. I could, oh gosh, and I don't know what the right way or the wrong way is. There's just several ways to go about it. I could draw a line just like this, just a simple line from the corner. And I could make sure that my object snaps are set to perpendicular, which they are already. So literally I could just snap from there to there. And you could see I am on an incorrect layer and a layer that we did not create. So again, another mistake on my part. Let me back it up. In this document, you're going to see several layers, not to scare you in any way. I am just going to go to my layer A wall full new and make it current. So you don't even need to worry about any of the other layers yet. And then literally I'm going to go back to exactly where I was in that northwest corner. And again, another way that I can draw this door opening is, of course, being on the layer A wall full new. I'm going to basically start it from an endpoint and work perpendicularly. And then I can take this line and I could literally move it or offset it, and I'm going to move it. And why I'm going to move it? Because I don't want to make an extra copy. I just want it 6 inches over from where it's at. Another way I could have done it was extending this line, breaking it, and moving it. So I'll show you that too, just to show you, because again, this is all new. So I could, again, take that vertical line that represents the wall right there, and I could again extend. So extend is under your trim command. It's just EX, literally, if you want to type it. And if I just did this, then what we have under modify, this is a new command I'm about to show you. We have what's called break at point. We have break at break, and then we have break at point. I'll show you break at point. You just select it, And because your object snaps are on, you just snap the point, and I've just turned one line into two separate lines. This might be actually the faster one. And then you can move that little line from its endpoint 6 inches over. Literally, that helps. So again, whatever you think is easier, faster, if you have another way, I mean, again, I don't think there's a right or a wrong way as you dive in generically and get your feet wet. And again, you're going to be the designer behind your drawings in the sense of, does that read well? Does it graphically communicate what I need? Are the line weights reading very well? And on and on and on. Okay, so our door opening is 3 foot. So I am going to use the offset command here, and I'm going to say 3 feet, and I'm going to offset it to the other side. And then the beautiful part about this is I get to show you the mirror command. Yay! So we have copy. We have offset that we just learned, which again is a form of copy. And then we have mirror, which is also a form of copy. I think probably mirror is maybe the most steps. But again, once you have mirrored several times, you will love this command. So because this space is symmetrical, hence why I picked it for our first floor plan to draw, it makes sense that whatever I draw to my left or on my left, I can pretty much mirror to the other side, basically make a book match copy. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to select these 2 lines that we just drew. I am going to select mirror. It, meaning the AutoCAD, is going to ask me to specify the first point on the mirror line. Well, it's basically our center line here. So that's going to be an endpoint to the first point. And then I'm going to scroll all the way to the end of it. And I'm going to select my second point on that mirror line. It's asking me if I want to erase my source object, and no is the default. So here you could just hit enter or right click on the mouse, either one, and you will see a beautiful copy get made. And mind you, let me do that again, only because I didn't show it to you as it, oh, sorry. Okay, so again, select mirror. And again, I just follow suit in what it's asking me, on the command line. Specify first point. So again, my first point can be here. And then it's going into asking me on the command line, specify the second point. Again, my second point could just be here, literally. Either you're going to find midpoint pop up or perpendicular. And immediately you could see off to the right here, you're getting the ghosted image of what you're mirroring, copying, AKA. And again, I do not want to erase my source object, so you could just hit no, because no is what you see on your standards command line as the default. So I'm just going to hit enter here. And then you can trim. And so here I'm spelling out trim for no other reason why my fingers just went too fast. And I'm going to trim and trim, and I'm going to trim and I'm going to trim. Yay! So that's basically creating the openings to the door, and of course save, which, before I place a door like a pivot door or a bifold door or a sliding door, I always make those openings first because it just makes sense. Okay, so same thing here. We have, again, if I reference the PDF, we have, as we scroll down, a 6 foot wide opening, but it doesn't have any pivot doors on it. We're going to do that actually in class together, but 6 foot wide. So again, what are my options? How can I go about this? I could take the center line and I could offset 3 feet. I could offset 3 feet, and then I could trim the whole thing, which I think actually will go pretty fast. I will have to change the layer though, because obviously the center line is still on layer 0. No big deal. So that's one possibility. Or I could draw a line, from endpoint to endpoint here, and I could offset it 3 feet, and I can offset it 3 feet. I think the faster one is actually copying this. Offsetting or copying. Actually, offset would be faster because I could do it in one step. But offset, I am offsetting 3 feet, which is actually the default dimension right now. Great. And I'm going to snap to the left, and I'm going to select it again and snap to the right. And then literally, you guys, trim. And I'm going to trim here, and here, and here, and here, and then here. And then, so I don't know if you saw that, but I kind of, instead of snapping on the lines, I kind of drew what's called like a window or a dragging window. It wasn't very clear, but let me show it again. Okay, so again, all I did was offset 3 feet to the left or right and left, literally. And then This is my opening for the door. So I am typing trim, TR. And I'm going to get rid of this. So again, I can snap on the line, you get a little X, or you can drag. See, it's supposed to be a rectangle, but it's a kind of amoeba shape. This is kind of new in the newer versions of AutoCAD. Or I can, drag just a nice straight line if you do it pretty quick. And then I could get rid of those, and I could get rid of those. And the key here is, let's get back into the command. So again, hit enter, right click on the mouse or space bar. Again, I'm right back into trim, and let me trim those. So yeah, I tend to go too fast when I'm teaching. I apologize. I just take it for granted. But again, I'm in 2023, so I still have to watch what I'm doing. And then this is what I meant by this line and that line are on layer 0, because I copied them from the center line, which will change probably in class. But here, I'm just going to manually change it right here. So 8, well, full new, it's on the pen assignment, or AKA color cyan, and we are good to go. So again, I'm going to save again, save. Okay. Okay, so on to the elevator lobby. I'm going to show you one of the elevator cabs, not to extend this video, but just so that you know how to do it. And then I'm going to just let you mirror it. I'm going to let you try to figure out the center partial height wall and desk, and then of course we'll redraw it all, or review, I should say, in class. So the elevator lobby. So again, zooming on in here. I'm going to showcase our PDF, of course, because I need some dimensions. So let me scroll on down. Okay, so a couple things are happening. I believe I've given you all the dimensions you need. And so immediately you can see that where is the start to these elevators? From the corner, that's 5 feet. So I'm going to remember that 5 feet. I'm probably going to draw the first one, however, off to this left side. So this one I'm circling. The elevator cab is 5'2" by 3'11". The door opening to the elevator is 4 feet. And what I don't have dimensioned is possibly that door, but we're just going to add 2 or 3 inches to the 4 feet. So we're probably going to draw a door, which is, at the end of the day in plan view, is a rectangle. We're going to probably draw that door 4 foot by 4 inches, or 4 foot by 6 inches. I think we'll do 4 by 4. And then the depth of a door, typical door depth is 1 1/4 inch. And so we'll just use the same. And then I'll explain just a little bit about a threshold. And then of course some layers that we have to create. But I'm just going to build one, and then I'll let you, with the mirror command, copy what you need, and do what you need. So wonderful. So 5 feet, and then cap. Okay, so 5 feet, and then door opening of 4 feet. Okay, so going back to AutoCAD. Wonderful. All right, so again, I'm going to stay on the A wall layer because I really am cutting or trimming the door opening first. So we have 5 feet. So I take usually what I have drawn in AutoCAD and modify it if I can. And this makes sense. I'm going to take this line that I just selected here, and I'm going to offset that 5 feet because that's the dimension we're given. And then I'm going to take and offset that 4 feet, because the 4 feet is what is the actual elevator door opening. So 4 feet, and bam. And then, as you can guess, I'm going to trim. So trims, TR, enter. I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to get rid of this. And mind you, sometimes when I drag that line or that amoeba shape, it understands what I'm trimming, and sometimes it doesn't. But I find I can be messy about it, other than like picking specifically on the line itself, so it makes it a little bit easier. Okay, what we need, so truly, getting a little detail with you, truly, if these are elevator shafts, which they are because they're elevators, and this is our floor, what we need represented here is what's called a threshold line. Again, I'm going to go into my object snaps, and I do have perpendicular, and okay, so I'm good. All right, so I'm going to draw from the endpoint to the endpoint of the wall a line. It's on the incorrect layer, but I don't have that layer yet, but I'm going to make it right now. So the next new layer that I want you guys to make, oh gosh, and I have them here, unfortunately, is basically a layer called threshold. A-threshold. So again, go ahead and hit that new layer button here. Go ahead and again, up to you if you're using uppercase or lowercase layers. And it doesn't have a for suffix to it because this is kind of I'm calling it a generic layer. And it is on, it is thawed, it is unlocked, it is going to be printed, so there's not a little not printed. And the color that we're going to reference is red. Red is one of the lightest pen assignments in the CTB file that I'm going to share with you. And we'll get into that in class on Wednesday. The line type itself is continuous. And again, as we move to the right, the default line weight, all of that's going to stay just default settings, not to worry. I'm not going to make it my standard current layer, only because I am not going to be drawing another threshold, so it's all good. And so literally, once you make the layer, once you select the object that represents that threshold, go ahead and change it to your threshold layer, just like that. And then I can create some more layers. I'm going to save, of course, because anything I do and I don't want to do again, I save. So I'm going to go back to layer properties here under my layer panels. And I'm going to make a layer called elevator cab. So A for architecture, elevator dash cab. And this is new, but I'm not going to add the fourth suffix to it. On Wednesday, I'm going to share with you the handout that I gave you on Canvas. And I'll point out these layers to you so that you don't think that, I'm just coming up with them on a whim. I am using an AIA standard layer list that I created long ago and that we'll use for most of our projects that we deal with in AutoCAD, which is not many, but it is still a lot. So again, make that layer for the elevator. Again, it's on, it's thawed, it's unlocked. We're going to print it, and it also is on the color red and a continuous line type. And then the last layer that I'd like you to make, and again, we're going to be making all these layers. These two, as you can see, are a mess up. I pretty much want to delete this layer. Let's see if I can delete it. Yeah, it was not deleted. So let me share something. Well, let me share with you after I explain these layers. This A door. So again, if we were creating that pivot door that I showed earlier, I would have basically drawn it on an A door layer, which is on the color yellow and a continuous line. The door swing itself is basically going to be a circle, which again, you'll see in class, and I probably will make another video about it. Again, that's on, it's thawed, it's unlocked, and it can be printed, and that is on red. And then I think that's all that we'll need for the elevator door, or cab, I should say, or actually the whole elevator itself. So I'm going to close this after you have those new layers. So again, this might be where you stop the video and kind of go back. But the PDF, again, just to refresh my memory, the elevator cab is 5'2" by 3'11". So again, I'm going to just draw the rectangle because at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's just a plain rectangle So put the at symbol, type the at symbol at 3'11". That's the x-axis, comma, I think it was 5'2". I could be wrong. Yep, nope, I think we're right. Yeah, just double check. 3'11" by 5'2". Yep. And as you can see from my drawing, I literally can move this cab from its midpoint to the midpoint of the threshold. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to move this from its midpoint. So the midpoint is always, the object snap is the shape of a green triangle. And I'm going to turn ortho off. I'm not moving it literally straight, even though I don't need to turn ortho off. You can keep it on and still move on non-straight vertical and horizontal axes. And then you can see I'm overlapping my threshold so you can't see that. On top of, I need to add a door. So I'm going to move this elevator cab, again, right from the base point of the midpoint here. I'm going to put ortho back on because I really am moving this straight. And I'm going to type 3 inches here, like that. That gives me enough space in there between the threshold and the actual elevator cab to draw my door. Now, in the PDF, the elevator cab is shown with an X, which usually means a shaft. It doesn't mean that it's actually an elevator, but in this little scenario, in this little exercise, we're just going to draw some lines from endpoint to endpoint. Again, I can turn off ortho, but I also at the same time don't have to. It'll still work. And of course, that's our elevator cab. It should be on the layer that you created for the elevator cab. So a elevator cab. Bam, done. Okay, last thing that we need to draw for our elevator, as you can see from the PDF, is the door itself. So again, to kind of repeat, our door, any door, sliding, pivot, bifold, they are all basically in plan view just rectangles. So that's exactly what I'm going to draw. I'm going to change my layer this time to a door. I don't usually do that, but I'm doing that now. And I'm going to draw and select a rectangle. And I'm going to draw the rectangle out here and then move it midpoint to midpoint because I think you're kind of getting used to that. So when I draw my rectangle, again, you guys, I am moving to the right, which is positive X, and up, which is positive Y. And you're going to enter in at. So this was part of your assignment 1, getting into drawing some rectangles. You truly are going to be drawing a lot of rectangles in the next couple weeks. But at as the starting point. We want the x-axis to the door, which is basically 1 1/4. So it's 1 dash, because it's a fraction, 1/4. And again, because I don't have an inches tick or a foot tick, which is the hyphen or the quote, it understands it as an inch. You're going to type comma, because that's going to take you to the y-axis. And then we're going to type here 4'4". I was almost doing 3 feet, like the pivot door, but it's 4'4", and I'm hitting enter. And then again, I'm going to move that door from its midpoint to the midpoint of the threshold line. And again, I'm overlapping the threshold line, so I do need to move this door. So I'm zooming in close. I'm going to move it, oh gosh, let's see what 1 inch looks like. Yep, I'm going to move it 1 inch. Wonderful. Just like that. So you kind of get, again, from the corner of the elevator lobby, you have 5 feet of drywall wall, because it truly is going to be drywall. You don't know that yet, but I just said that. You have a 4-foot opening for the door itself. So again, that opening needs to represent a threshold line, and it needs to represent the actual door that moves. And of course, these are probably 2 doors that slide. One slides up, one slides, one slides to the right if you're standing there, and one slides to the left like a typical elevator door. I'm cheating a little bit and just showing it as 1 door. And then, of course, we have our elevator cab that we would step onto or off. Okay, from here, of course, I'm going to save. And then what I want you guys to do is I want you to take this. So again, I'm not windowing across window right to left because I don't need my wall. What I need only is a crossing window left to right, which is a blue crossing window, because everything within this window will get selected, which is not the vertical wall, but it is the wall representing the door cut or door opening, if you will. And again, this is where mirror is really, really helpful, because I can mirror. It's going to ask me for the first point along the mirror line. And again, you guys, I can scoot on up all the way to the top to the end point. And then it's asking me for a second point, and I can scoot and move all the way to the bottom of my center line. And you guys could see it being ghosted here. No, I do not want to erase my source object, so I can just hit no, enter, and bam, I have myself a wonderful door. Or I should say the second elevator cab with a door. But as you can see, I still need to trim. So it's wonderful I have it, but I still need to trim those walls out. And so something I'd like to show you just really quickly, because we'll see this again in class, is if you go ahead and select any object on the A wall full new layer, which mine isn't new, but you understand what I'm saying. And if you go to here where it either says off, you go to the right of that, you have an isolate icon in AutoCAD. And if you select it, it'll turn off all the objects except that layer that you're requesting, basically. And so I am going to move in here, and I'm going to say trim, TR trim. And mind you, notice it's doing all the work for me. So literally, if I do TR, I was dragging the thing, but I could just snap and get rid of it, or just drag that little line. The other thing that I want to do is I want to select all of these walls and I want to put them on the A wall new layer, which basically is off, but it's not going to be in a second. And if you go, so everything will turn off. Wonderful, good, learn a little bit something, right? If I go back to the layers panel, right underneath isolate is unisolate, and you can turn everything back on. So again, if I select a layer name or a layer object, which now is the proper layer, A wall full new, like we started with part 1, and I say isolate here, it's only showing pretty much my wonderful walls. Great. And so again, I'm going to unisolate and everything's back on. Okay, so go ahead and break out the door openings for the elevators and the 6-foot wide opening and the pivot doors. Go ahead and draw up the elevator and mirror it on over. So I still have one more to go. So again, when I look at my PDF, I did give you the distance. So like literally there is 6 feet of space between these 2 elevators. So I do need to reference that and then I can mirror it on over. So I'm going to leave you to that. And then we're going to jump in class and start to dive into the partial height wall and millwork. But I want you to try to take a stab at it with what you know so far, because you pretty much know all the commands. And I mean, not all of them for this exercise or for this assignment. So you know copy, you know moving, you now know mirror, you now have gotten into offset. You've started learning about layers. You started learning about, how do I edit my layers with the properties window, and you can make this look pretty good, actually, I'm guessing. So I'm going to hit Control S to save, and I want to thank you for your time, and I will see you soon, or hopefully if you're new to AutoCAD, this has been helpful. Thank you very much. Bye.